Have you ever stopped to consider why electric vehicles, or EVs as they're commonly known, aren't flying off the showroom floors as predicted by industry analysts? Why, despite their clear environmental benefits and technological advances, are they not the hot commodity everyone expected them to be? Just a few short years ago, EVs were heralded as the future of transport. Their sales were projected to skyrocket, leaving traditional gas guzzlers in the dust. Yet here we are, in 2024, and the reality paints a very different picture. While there has been a steady increase in EV sales over the years, the growth rate is not as explosive as once predicted. In the early years, there was a significant surge in interest and sales. This was largely driven by early adopters and enthusiasts who were captivated by the novelty and promise of this new technology. But as the novelty wore off, sales began to plateau. The upward trajectory flattened out. The vast majority of consumers remained unconvinced, sticking to their petrol and diesel engines. The dream of an electric future, it seems, is still some way off. This video explored the reasons behind this slower than expected uptake of EVs. It touched on the various factors that have contributed to public skepticism. Firstly, the issue of range anxiety was discussed. This is the fear that an EV won't have enough juice to get you where you need to go. Despite improvements in battery technology, this remains a significant concern for many potential buyers. Next, the video highlighted the lack of charging infrastructure. For EVs to become mainstream, there needs to be a reliable network of charging stations that are as ubiquitous and accessible as gas stations are today. The video also delved into the high costs associated with EVs, not just the upfront purchase price but also the costs of installing a home charging station and replacing the battery. Lastly, it discussed the perception that EVs are less fun to drive than their gas-powered counterparts. While this is largely subjective and dependent on the specific model, it's a sentiment that's hard to shake for some car enthusiasts. In conclusion, while EVs have come a long way since their inception, there are still several hurdles they need to overcome before they can truly become mainstream. It's clear that for EVs to gain more traction in the market, these concerns need to be addressed. Only then can they truly revolutionize the way we travel. As we've seen, there are several barriers that are holding back the mass adoption of electric vehicles. But what if we told you that there are already solutions being developed and implemented to overcome these challenges? In terms of range anxiety, the advancements in battery technology are promising. Companies are investing heavily in research and development to increase battery life and reduce charging times. Some are even exploring the concept of swappable batteries to eliminate the wait time for charging altogether. The infrastructure problem is also being addressed. Governments and private companies are working together to build more charging stations and make them as commonplace as gas stations. Innovative solutions like mobile charging units and home charging setups are also on the rise. When it comes to costs, it's important to remember that like any technology, prices will decrease over time as production scales up and technology improves. Many countries are also offering incentives and subsidies to make EVs more affordable. Lastly, the perception that EVs are less fun to drive is being shattered by companies that are producing high-performance electric cars. These vehicles not only match, but often exceed the performance of their gasoline counterparts. So, while the road to widespread EV adoption may be bumpy, there's no doubt that we're heading in the right direction. With continued innovation and collaboration, the future of transportation is electric.